outdoor edition. It is 80 degrees today, and tomorrow it's supposed to be 35 and snowing, so I decided I needed to be outside. And it's been a while since I've done a podcast, so I decided why not just do it out from the backyard. So welcome, and today we're going to talk about some finished objects I have, some knitting projects, some books that I love, and some yarn that I've dyed in my shop, my Etsy shop. And so that's kind of the plan for the day. But right now I am outside enjoying the weather and my backyard, and it feels so good out. I'm really dreading tomorrow in the snow. I love snow when it snows in the winter time, but when it's April 14th tomorrow and the forecast is 30 degrees and snow, and we're supposed to be going to my son's baseball games, kind of makes it a little depressing to think about that. So right now I'm gonna absorb some sunshine, and hopefully it will push me through the weekend of snow and cold. And it's been a long winter. I'm ready for some warm weather and some gardening and, you know, all that fun stuff. So yeah, I'm glad you're here today, and let's start talking about some knitting. With finished objects. I guess I really only have one finished object, but I absolutely love it. It is the Campside Shawl by Alicia Plummer, and I knit it up pretty quickly actually because I knit it in my first hand dyed yarns. I had dyed 3 skeins of purple, and since it was my first attempt at dyeing, they all came out totally different, and they came out variegated. And so I decided to knit the Campside Shawl into a fade, and so it came out really pretty, I think. So it has this great purple fade into a dark purple at the bottom. It is a great cozy big shawl. I'll probably be wearing it this weekend with the snowy weather again, but it's really big. It's probably the biggest thing I've made to date so far, so that's kind of cool. It turned out really well. I didn't have any problems knitting it. I really love how the colors blended together. So the first part just has a few little speckles of pinks and stuff in there, and then the next part had a lot more speckles, so I blended that, and then the last skein that I had was a dark purple, or like a full purple, and so that's how I ended it. But I think it turned out really nice, and I was pretty excited about that. And yeah, I've worn it a few times already since it's such a long winter, and I'm excited to get to wear it. If it's gonna snow, I may as well have something cozy to wear. So that is really my only finished object right now. And I have quite a few things in progress right now, though. I've been spending a lot more time dyeing yarn and getting my shop up and running, that my Etsy shop, that I haven't had a lot of time to sit down and knit. So I'm just now kind of starting some more projects, which I will show you. So let's go on to those. Because I've started some more projects, I actually decided to start a Cozy Memories blanket. So I only have 3 squares right now, but they're really fun, and it's a fun little side project to do with the mitering, and it's just a quick knit, so it's kind of fun to have your extra yarn that you use for different projects and add it to this. So this will take me a long time, but these are the 3 squares I currently have, and so kind of excited to keep that going. And hopefully before long I'll have more yarn to add to this. So that I'm keeping in this little project bag that I sewed. It's cute. It's actually all the same exact fabrics that I made my a dress for my daughter in for this summer. So it's a cute little bag, but so that's being stored in there. Another project that I'm working on is the Hermione's Everyday Socks. And this is being knit on the Woolen Homesteads yarn. The colorway is Life is the Bubbles. And I kind of love this colorway on these socks because it reminds me of a mermaid's tail. Sorry, you'll have to excuse the sirens behind me if you can hear those. So I have to confess that even though I've been knitting for over 6 years, these are actually the first socks I've ever done. And so I'm kind of stalled at the moment because I need to find some good resource or a YouTube video or something, because I don't know how to do a heel. And so I am trying to I kind of just put it away for now until I get to that point. But I wanted to show you, here is the Life is the Bubbles colorway by the Woolen Homestead, caked up. It's a really cool color. So yeah, right now I only have one of these and I'm ready to start the heel, and so I just need to figure out what to do next with that. The other new skill that I had to acquire to do this, I mean I didn't have to, but I wanted to, was I have never done a magic loop method before, and so I decided this was a perfect project for me to try it with. I have to confess, it's fine, but I am much more of a double pointed needle person. I love my DPNs, and so this just seems a little awkward and bulky at times to me, but it's not bad. I'm just much more efficient with my DPNs, and maybe this will get better as I do it, but but it's not a big deal. I'm glad I know how to do it now. But this is being stored in another little bag that I made myself. So that one, like I said, I'm kind of stalled on, and so yeah, I'm gonna, if you have suggestions on a good heel to put on that, I'm open for suggestions. So then the next project I've been knitting on for a while actually is my summer rain shawl. And you can see it's a green, very variegated color. It's very pretty. It's very light. The yarn is just a Knit Picks yarn. Lots of variegation to it. This has a really nice shape to it. And this one, I got the pattern out of one of my favorite magazines, Taproot, which I should be getting the newest Taproot any day. But this pattern is the Summer Rain Shawl by Leah Thibault. I'm not sure how you say her last name. And so this one I don't take places with me as much because I have to have the pattern in front of me because each row is a little bit different. And it's a good pattern and I'm excited for it to be done, but it's kind of one of those projects where I'm not loving the process of this one. And so normally I love the process, but this one I just kind of want the finished product. And so I kind of got a little bored with it this winter and I put it aside. So I work on it like a couple of rows here and there, but I really love the back point here, and I really am excited to wear it because I think it'll be a great shawl for this spring, and I love the color. Green is a good color for me, but yeah, for now I kind of just have it tucked away, and it's one I keep pulling out and working on it from time to time. I don't have any problems with it. I did struggle at first because I was reading the wrong line of the pattern, and so I had to rip a few rows out at the very beginning, but I realized what I was doing, and I took care of that, and so it's been fine ever since. It's a good pattern and it's not difficult to follow. It's just, I don't know what it is. There's some projects that you get to that you just kind of like take your time on, and it's not super exciting to finish it. So so that one's a work in progress too. So far that's 3 works in progress. I also need to finish, I was knitting a little stuffed bat, like animal bat for my son's 10th birthday, which was back on March 5th. And it's a pattern by Rebecca Danger. And I didn't bring that one out here, but I have everything done on it except for the little ball feet. And it would literally take me maybe 10-15 minutes total to get it done. But it's kind of buried in my project bag, and so I kind of always forget to just finish it and give it to him. And he keeps asking me about it, and I just keep forgetting about it. So maybe this weekend with the snow I'll finally get around to it. But so that's another work in progress. Another one that I've been working on consistently actually is the Washed Out Shawl by Joji Locatelli. And I love the look of this shawl because I think that it'll be an awesome spring and summer shawl to wear out. And so I'm doing it the way that she suggests with a fade color, and all of my colors. So here's that so far. I'm not super far into it, but I've been working on this one consistently. And here's the initial color. And this color is also by the Woolen Homestead. And this one is Blueberry Crumb Cakes, which I know they have some in their shop right now on Etsy. And the next colorway that I'm going to do on it is also Woolen Homestead. So this whole shawl is going to be yarn by the Woolen Homestead. This one is Stardust, which has great speckles and stuff. It's got blues and yellows and pinks and purples and greens in it. So that's going to be it's going to fade into this color. And then the white lace color at the end is Solstice Twilight by the Woolen Homestead. It's a white base with some lilac and some yellow sprinkled in there. So if you're looking for the Woolen Homestead, there's our logo. I've bought a lot of yarn from her actually, and her podcast is actually, like I said, I think in my last podcast, one of the reasons why she inspired me to just go ahead and dive in and start trying to dye yarn. So check her out. But I have struggled with the lace on this, honestly. I actually it repeats this part, the lace part, for 24 rows. And I did all 24 rows, and then I realized that I did the whole thing wrong for the lace part. And so I had to rip it all back. And so I ripped it all back, and I put it back on my needles. And I knitted 6 rows before I realized that I put them on my needles backwards. And so I had to rip those 6 rows back out again, because it was just a stupid error of me not paying attention to what I was doing, putting my needles back in. So now I'm on the last 2 rows of this lace part before I move on to the next section, and I'm kind of happy about that because I don't know what it is with this lace repeat that I am just, it's not challenging, it's just I need to pay attention, I guess, better and not be distracted by my kids and everything else going on in my house, because I obviously need to pay better attention. So that one I've been working on the most. And the other project that I'm currently working on is, it's not a great picture because my printer is not working at the moment, but the On the Spice Market shawl by Melanie Berg. And I am actually doing the colors that are in the original picture because those are my absolute favorite colors. And so I bought the Spice yarn kit from Miss Babs Yarn, and so those colors are awesome. So you have paprika, you have these are my absolute favorite colors. Fall colors are my favorites. Cumin, which is like a really awesome yellow color. Then it will have turmeric, a really awesome orange. And then this one is ground anise, which is where I started. Then you have Kaffir Lime, a bright green. And then Sumac. And then I believe this one's called White Peppercorn as kind of the base between all the colors. So it's kind of a variegated white and gray kind of color. So that one I started, and I was kind of sad because I started it and I was really enjoying knitting on it. And then I realized that I hadn't got the white base, and so I had to order that and wait for it to get here. And so it just actually came today. So after I get to the end of this lace on this other Hoya Locatelli shawl, the washed out one, I might put that one aside so I can make a little progress on this one, because I love these colors a lot. And I know I'll wear them both a lot, but I kind of like going back and forth, because sometimes if I just have one project going, I get a little bored with that project, and so I like to have different ways to move my hands. What's really cute, I have never ordered yarn from Miss Babs before, and so it was really cute because you get a card. This one with the peppercorn, it comes with a little stitch marker, and the card that came with all the colored ones actually had 3 stitch markers on there. So those are some fun things. And then it also came with a couple samples, and it says "Swatch Me." So although I think it's mixed up because the cards both say that the colorway is Wild Iris, but they're obviously not the same colors, so I'm thinking one of them is not right. But it doesn't matter, because I think I'll go ahead and use both of these in my Cozy Memories blanket. A couple little cute colors that I got with that. So yeah, those are all the knitting projects that I have, the works in progress, my whips right now. And I'm really excited to make some progress on them. So yeah, I have 3 shawls going right now, but I'm kind of in a shawl addiction phase right now. Some of the things I really want to work on is I really want, I know it's summer and it's not really summer knitting, but I'm afraid it's going to take me a long time. I really want to have a sweater for this next winter. And so I need to find a really good beginner sweater pattern, because I've never made a sweater before. And so I really want to kind of cast one on just so I can work on it and kind of figure out how to do that. And then the other thing that I really want to work on is I want to learn color work. And so I've had lots of people tell me that I think it's the Babel hat, free on Ravelry. I think it's free, maybe it's not free, but it's on Ravelry. I've had a couple people tell me that is a great color work starter project, and so I might cast that on too, just so I can start that, because I've never done color work before, and I really want to do some color work. So those are the 2 skills that I'm trying to teach myself here over the summer, so that I can do a bunch more projects, because I have so many things saved in my Ravelry library that require those skills, and I've never done either of them, so that's kind of on my to-do list too for this summer. So that's what I've got going right now. Yeah, those are my whips and my finished projects right now. So next I want to talk about my shop and some yarn that I've been dyeing up. So let's talk about some yarn. Okay, so let's talk about some yarn. I opened my Etsy shop on April 1st and hasn't been very busy yet. I've made one sale in the last couple weeks, and it was my Monarch colorway that I'll show you here in a minute. And Lady Wings Designs, she has a podcast and she's on Instagram too. She actually bought it, and she was my first sale, and I was really excited about that. And she actually, in her newest podcast, if you check it out on YouTube, she shows the colorway, and I was so excited to see her show that and kind of give me a shout out, because She loved it, and I'm so happy because she loves monarch butterflies. And when she said that it was true to color and she loved it so much, it made me really happy because I want people to love what they get from me. And I try really hard when I take my pictures for Etsy to make it as true to color as possible, and sometimes it's really hard, so I will take 30 pictures of one skein of yarn, moving it around, trying to find the best lighting and to make it so it comes out right. So let me show you kind of what's in my shop right now. So my original colors, this one is Wonka Vision. Its colors are in Aztec gold, purples, browns, and it's inspired obviously by Willy Wonka. There are 3 of these in the shop right now. And it's all on, these are all on fingering superwash 75-25, 75% merino, 25 nylon. So they're great for socks, shawls, sweaters, anything. So that one is Wonka Vision. This one is Monarch. So it's orange and whites and blacks. And this is the one that Lady Wing Design got. So there's 2 of these left in the shop. And I think they're all 450 yards. So there's 2 of those in the shop. Then I have Dandelion, which has bright greens and yellows and whites. And there are 3 of these in the shop. If you can't tell, I love nature, and so all of my colorways have nature themes, except for Wonka Vision. It's the only one that doesn't. But let's see what else I have here. So then I have Awakening. I love this one. It's got yellows and greens and blues, and it is called Awakening because the colors reminded me of kind of spring, waking up after a long winter, which hasn't completely done yet, although some of my grass is turning green, so that's good. I hear the birds in the morning. So this one's Awakening. There are 3 of these in the shop. And then I added some more new things to the shop just recently. I wanted to get some more spring colors in there, and so I have this one. Has a lot of bright colors in it, and it is called Secret Garden. There are 3 of these in this shop. It's got blues, pinks, greens, yellows, like a coral color. So there's 3 of those. And then this one is called Bluebird of Happiness. And it's got different colored blues, and teals and turquoise. There's also 3 of those. This one is called Cloverfields, and it's purples and greens. And there are 3 of those in the shop also. And this one is called Emerald Moss. And there are 3 of those in the shop. And this would go really great with Cloverfields or with Secret Garden if you're looking to pair up a couple different colors. So those are all in this shop. And then I also have, find it here, I have a big basket of yarn right in front of me, trying to find all the pieces. I also have one that's kind of like Monarch, only it's darker. I added a lot more black to it so that the base is kind of a gray color. And this one I call Stormy Sunset. And it is still in the shop, and there's 3 of those also. Now, once I really started dyeing, I have dyed up a bunch of yarn with the acid dyes, but I have to tell you, I way love, because I'm a naturalist, I am really into nature. I love hiking, I love all things nature. I really love foraging and doing natural dyes. It is so fulfilling to me, I guess. I love the process. It's a lot longer. You have to make the dye. Well, first you have to forage for the things if you can. You can also buy dyes, or natural dye pieces. There's like Maui, I think that's how it's called, Maui, M-A-I-W-A. You can get it from, oh my gosh, I can't even think of it. There's a couple other places you can get it from dyeing supplies, or Mountain Rose Herbs. Is that what it's called? So you can buy some things online, but it's way more fun and fulfilling, I guess. But even then, you have to make the dye. So first, you have to make the dye from the dye stuff, and and then you have to dye the yarn, and it's a little bit longer process, and it's kind of surprising because it's all science, it's all experimenting, because you don't really know what you're going to get. So let me show you some of the things that I have done, so I can show you how much fun it is. So in my shop, I have this avocado dyed yarn. It is a beautiful peachy pink. There is a little bit of variegation in it. It is so pretty, and this one is on fingering weight yarn, and it is so soft. But you would think that avocados would dye like green, but it's actually all peach or pinks and mauve colors. So this is currently in my shop. This is an avocado dye, all natural. Just to show you a contrast. So here, this is also in my shop. This is also avocado dyed. I don't know how well you can see the colors. This one is on a sport weight, 274 yards, so it's a little bit thicker, but you can see the difference in the color. This one's a little darker. I dyed it a little bit longer, a little more deeper color. But man, they would be pretty together. But just to show you one that I don't have in the shop that I'm keeping for myself, actually. So there's one of each of those in the shop, but one that I'm keeping for myself. This wool, you can see the twist in it. This wool is actually from a local dairy here in town. She does sheep and goats, and this one dyed up. It's 100% wool, and it's a mixture. It's not merino, but it's 100% mixed wool. And this one dyed up really dark, deep kind of mauve color. This one I'm keeping for myself for right now, because I actually have a whole bunch more that I just bought from her, and she had given me this one as a sample. And so I just bought 20 skeins from her actually the other day, and so I am going to, I dyed up, I think there's 7 skeins drying right now of avocado dye that will go in the shop. But for now, this one was my first one, and I kind of want to knit it up to see how it turns out. But what I love about this wool too is that it is very organic. There's actually little bits of organic things in here, like some grass and stuff like that. I mean, it's been washed multiple times, and I love the twist on it. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with this yet. If you have any ideas for something that's very rustic wool, I would love those. It's about 200 yards, and I'm really excited to dye something up with it, or to knit something up with it. I already dyed it, but yeah, so there will be some of this yarn locally processed. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. She's right across the border, just north of Council Bluffs, Iowa. Sorry, I have wool in my mouth. And her dairy is called Dos and Divas Dairy. She makes the best goat and sheep cheese. Oh my gosh, it's so yummy. And every time I go out there, she always pulls out the cheese and some pretzels or crackers, and she's like, here you go, have some snacks. She's the sweetest lady, and I love hanging out at her place, because she does all the work herself. She does everything, and she runs this whole show, and she, you know, milks them all, and she helps birth all the babies. So I went out there in March to Dos and Divas, and and she had a bunch of pregnant ewes and goats. And when I went out there a couple days ago, actually, she so far has 70 babies and more to come. And so she'll sell she'll sell the rams and the boys, and then she'll sell a chunk of the girls, but she keeps most of the girls because she uses them for her dairy, obviously. So she uses the milk. But they're so cute. And I have some pictures in the podcast of our little trip out there the other day. That's from where that's from, Does and Divas. So this one is mine, but like I said, there's going to be some more yarn like this with the high twist in the shop. Pretty much these colors so far of the avocado dyed, coming probably next week. So then another avocado dye I did, I had read that if you added some iron crystals to it, you can actually change an avocado dyed yarn to gray. So I did this one. It is the best charcoal gray. In fact, I think these two together would be awesome. The peach and the gray together would be really, really pretty. So this is fingering weight yarn too, and it's just a nice charcoal gray, and it's avocado dyed, and just added some iron crystals to it to modify it at the end, just a few. And so this is also the same fingering weight yarn, 450 yards, 75% merino, 25% nylon superwash. So there's that. And then my next experiment in dyeing was with yellow onion skins. And the first time I dyed it, I got these two yarns. They are really bright. I don't know if you can even tell the colors of them on the screen. Let's see if I can get a good color. I don't know. They're really, really bright yellow, and they're so pretty. And these are the same fingering weights. They're so pretty. I was really surprised. I really thought that they were going to be like an orange kind of color, but these came out bright yellow. So then with the leftover dye bath, I decided to dye 2 more skeins, and they came out really like a lighter, but a very like sunshiny pale yellow. So you can see the difference in those maybe. So there is 2 of the brighter like golden kind of yellow, and there's 2 of the sunshine yellow in my Etsy shop right now. So those came out really pretty, and those ones are yellow onion skins, and yeah, they came out really, really pretty. So then the next one, oh sorry, there's actually 2 of the gray ones in the shop, the avocado dyed gray. So then the next ones that I did, natural dyes, was Madder Root. And Madder Root comes out this gorgeous like brick red, orangey color. I love these. These would also be beautiful for a fall project with the gray avocado dyed yarn. So there are 2 of these. They are not in the shop yet. I just started taking pictures of them. They just came off the drying rack. Same fingering weight, same yardage, 450 yards. I hope these colors are coming in so you guys can really see them. So these are all naturally dyed madder root. Now the great thing about madder root is that you can get pinks and stuff out of those too. So these, oh my gosh, I am amazed about these. So these ones came from the madder root dye. So this, there's two of those. This I put in to a very, very light dye bath that was left. I'm not sure how well you can see those. And when I noticed that they were going to be really, really light, see this really, really light color right here, I decided I had a little leftover, gosh, I never know how you say this, and I'm going to say it wrong, and I'm going to look dumb, but oh well, is it cochineal or cochineal dye? It's from the bug that makes everything like bright magenta pinks. So I had a little bit left over, and I just kind of dumped it in the dye pot with the yarn already in there and swirled the yarn around. And the dye water was still warm, but it made these amazing pinks swirls throughout. And I'm like totally amazed at this, and I love these so much. And I am not a pink person, like I don't normally wear pink, but these, oh my gosh, they are so pretty, and I kind of want to keep them. But I don't really know what I'd make with them because they're not really my color. My daughter wants me to keep them and make something for her, but I don't know what I would make for her either. So if they don't end up in the shop, I'll try and replicate as best I can. But with natural dyes, you can't always replicate it. So I might not be able to do it again. This might have been a fluke. I don't know. I'll try again and see if I can come up with anything, but I haven't decided yet what I'm doing with these, if these are going in the shop or if I'm keeping them. Maybe I'll make a sweater for my daughter or a cardigan. I don't know. They're so pretty. I just love them. This one has this like bright pink right here, and the other one doesn't really have, there's only like a couple of strips of bright pink, but the rest of it is like kind of a pale pink, and they're so pretty together. So those ones are naturally dyed also. And then with that same madder root dye bath, I had two other onion skin ones that were kind of a golden color, and I dipped those in there too, and the color didn't change much. They're still basically the same onion skin, a little more gold than the other two are more yellow. This one has a little more orangey to it, but it did change it to a little more orange, and it did give it some like reddish highlights in there. I don't know if you can see those at all. The sun is now shifted and it's more in my face, but there's some reddish highlights in here, and so they're really pretty, and I like those reddish highlights in there because I think it will add to the yarn. But these will make a great, they're like a great golden. See, maybe you can see this one better. Trying to adjust the lighting. Here you go. I don't know if you can see the reddish highlights in there on the camera or not. But this will make something really pretty too. So these are onion skins with some swirls of madder root in them. So those are all my naturally dyed yarns right now. Like I said, I have 20 skeins, 7 of them which of the high twist, 200 yards, 100% wool that I had just dyed up in avocado dye, and those will get in my shop. I might add some iron to a couple of them just to make some grays in that high twist. But so then I have 13 skeins left of that high twist wool from Does and Divas Dairy that I think I am going to try a couple different things with. Right now on my stove, I actually have a whole bunch of dried orange peels that I've been saving, and I had seen somewhere that you could make kind of a pale yellow with it, so I figured I'd try it. Worst case, it doesn't turn out and I can re-dye them. It's not going to hurt anything. So I might try those, and I just like experimenting and trying different dyes. So I'm gonna try a bunch of different things. So just keep your eyes open for my shop. My Etsy shop is Pot of Coffee Knits. But when you go on Etsy to try and find it, it's a capital P, a capital C for coffee, and capital K. So POTCOFFEYKNITS, just like my podcast, only the P, C, and K are all capitalized. There's also a link from my Instagram on my profile page, which my Instagram handle is also Pot of Coffee Knits. So you can find me on there. But some exciting news also with my yarn is there is a local yarn store here in town, and it's called Imaginits, and they are actually doing a feature, a 12-month feature. Every month a different dyer, yarn dyer, in the Nebraska and some Iowa area, and featuring their yarn. And one of the ladies that work at the shop, every month she knits up something in that person's yarn. And right now, a lot of you might have heard of Lofty Loops. They're out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Right now they're featuring something that was made in her, and her yarn is in that shop. And so I approached them, and so we haven't decided yet. She was kind of really excited about my naturally dyed yarns, only she wanted a DK weight. Right now all I had is fingering weight. However, the wool that I just got from Does and Divas is a DK weight, and so I'm trying to dye up some natural dyes that are more spring kind of colors, and she might use my yarn to do her May project, and then that knitted project will be featured in the shop for a while, and then I might be able to do, if they like it, then I might be able to do like a little pop-up show or like a little trunk show at the shop, which would be really cool. I'm not expecting necessarily to get my yarn in the shop, which is fine because that might be too stressful since I'm just a small batch dyer. So I don't dye big quantities. I don't have a big dye studio or anything. I dye in my kitchen. But that would be really cool to help me get my name out there and my Etsy shop known, and to show that I do natural dyeing. And I know I have a ton of like speckled yarn, different colors, which are really pretty. I love the colors that I dyed with these, but my heart is in natural dyeing. And so I think what I'm going to do is the acid dyes that I have left, I will probably use the last of those until they're gone, and just keep making new colors until they're gone, as long as people are buying from my Etsy shop. Come on guys, you got to get on my Etsy shop and check things out. But anyways, I think I'm going to fade out the acid dyes I currently have and really focus on my natural dyes. I love natural dyeing, and this spring I'm going to hit it hardcore with foraging. I have a bunch of garden beds in my yard, and I plan on planting a whole bunch of dye plants in my yard. I always plant huge marigolds, and I can dye with marigolds. My daughter and I plant a whole bunch of sunflower seeds, and I actually got the dyer's sunflower seeds this year, and so we're going to plant those. I'm going to dye a whole bunch with that. And I actually have some indigo seeds that I need to get planted inside, so I can get those started, and I'm going to learn how to do the indigo vat dyeing. Hopefully I can get those indigo seeds to grow so I can have some indigo plants, which are really pretty blues if you don't know that. And you don't have to do the vat, like the big process. You can actually just dye with the leaves and get different colored blues and from there. But I'm really excited to grow those too. So I really want to focus on my natural dyeing because I love nature. I love the process of it. It's very mindful. It's very peaceful. I have my my dye pot going all the time on my stove. There's always something in it. And so that's all my exciting news, and that's all my yarns and all my knitting projects right now. We have a lot going on. We actually, in our backyard, we have to do a massive cleanup, but we keep putting grass seed down because we want our grass to get really thick. we are replacing ourselves. I think I showed in my first podcast. We are replacing one long stretch of fence that's been kind of rotting away and falling apart right behind two big sections of my garden and right beside our fire pit. And so we've got a couple sections done, but we have, I think, 3 big sections left to go, and the snow this weekend is really going to throw us off because in, I think, 2 weekends, we have a bunch of family coming to town because my oldest son, who is almost 14, he is being confirmed at church, which, for those of you who don't know, they go through a class in 7th and 8th grade to kind of learn the foundations of the Bible and stuff like that. And so he does his confirmation of faith on the first weekend in May. So I'm really excited and proud of him for that. And so we have a bunch of family coming into town, and we're going to have a big barbecue, and the pastor's going to come to our house and stuff. So we're trying to get our backyard in shape and looking nice. I'm going to go get some lights to put around the fence by the fire pit. I already hung up two decorative pieces, and I'm trying to get my garden in order because my garden goes all around the patio where the fire pit is. We have 2 patios, and so yeah, we're just trying to work hard on that, and we're trying to work hard on getting our house super clean because of all my dyeing and knitting and starting the new Etsy shop and homeschooling and all that stuff. My house has really fallen to the wayside, so it is a huge mess right now. So I'm working really hard on trying to get all that cleaned up for family to come into town. Only one person, with my sister, my oldest sister with her 2 kids, my niece and nephew, are going to stay at our house. Everybody else has hotel rooms, but it'll be so fun to have people here in town that we haven't seen in a while. It's always fun to have family come to town. But so yeah, we've been very busy since Easter, and the cold weather keeps throwing us off of our plans outside. So we have a lot to do. So I'm hoping that this is the last cold weekend, and then it will warm back up and stay warm. But even though warm weather is coming, knitting never ends, crocheting never ends, so the yarn never ends. So I'm really excited for dyeing some more things for my garden, to plant some stuff that I can dye with. I'm also planting a medicinal garden. I have a lot of gardening plans that I'm working on now, so I'm kind of slowing down on doing some dyeing since I have just yarn sitting in my Etsy shop right now. But check out Lady Wings Designs podcast. Her newest episode shows her being so excited about my Monarch colorway. Monarch! And the Woolen Homestead, she was so super nice. In, I think, her 2 podcasts ago, she gave me a great shout out too, because I kind of helped her. She wanted to try her hand at natural dyeing, and so she wanted to make some avocado dye, which I think she has one or 2 in her shop right now too. And so I kind of helped her figure out how to do that and helped her give her some steps for that. And so she gave me a shout out on her podcast a couple podcasts ago, and she also was so sweet and said to check out my Etsy shop and to check out some of my yarns. So thank you for that, Tiffany. And but yeah, that's really what we've got going on now. A lot of busy spring stuff. Baseball season is starting for one of my sons, if it ever warms up, and so that always keeps us very busy too. But I don't mind the spring busyness because we're outside, and so I just love being outside. So anyways, that's all I really think I have for you today. So check out my Instagram page at Pot of Coffee Knits. Check out my Etsy shop, also Pot of Coffee Knits on Etsy. I'm also on Facebook under Pot of Coffee Knits, if you will follow any of those things. I'm also on Ravelry as Pot of Coffee, and so you can friend me on there if you want to. And check out my yarns. And I would really love it if you would share with other people and help me get my business going, because you guys are awesome. The knitting, crochet, fiber arts world is amazing on its collaboration, and I just love it. So Yeah, thanks for watching, and I will try to not take so long before I get back on here to podcast again. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope it's not snowing where you are, and I hope that if it's warming up for you, that you can enjoy the warm weather. And I will talk to you guys soon. I am at my son Raymond's 12-year-old. He's playing baseball this year, and it's a scrimmage tonight, so it's not an official game. And it was 80 degrees earlier today, and the temperature is dropping, and it's now below 60 in preparation for the snow tomorrow. It really stinks that it's going to snow tomorrow because I'm ready for baseball season. But I really wish I would have brought my campsite shawl with me or something warm, but I was optimistic that it was going to stay warm until the end of his game. But I love baseball season. It keeps us busy, and I love watching my son play. He's been playing since he was 3, and he's now almost 13. And he's now like in the big competitive league, and he plays second pitcher and catcher most of the time, and he's really, I'm not partial, he really is very skilled, and he loves it. He waits all winter for baseball season. So hey, I wish I would have brought my shawl. I feel more comfortable right now and warm. Of her brother. Say hi, Jess. Hi. Is it getting colder?
Kind of.
It was warm when we got here, wasn't it? Now it's colder out. It was warm today. Are you excited for the snow tomorrow? No? Are you ready for warm weather? Do you like coming to watch Raymond play? Okay. Well, let's watch him.